finally get to visit the main highlight in Tenerife, Teide National Park. There are only 2 buses in the morning from Puerto de la Cruz. The 7 o'clock in the morning one is too early for us, so we're on the second one at around 9:45. Again, it's cheaper to use the €10 day ticket. From Puerto de la Cruz, the 348 bus passes through La Orotava and then winds its way steeply uphill along switchbacks, high above Puerto de la Cruz. It doesn't stop at any of the viewpoints along the way, but it's a beautiful sunny day and we enjoy the ride and the views. At around 2,100 metres, we finally get into the Teide National Park. The bus stops at the El Portillo Visitor Centre before continuing. Now we have a fantastic view of the volcano and the Mars-like landscape. The bus goes to several stops in the park. One of them is Teleférico del Teide, the cable car station. We decided against it. It just takes too long unless you book a guided tour in advance. Instead, we got off at the last stop, Parador de Cañadas del Teide, to hike the 3.5 kilometre loop of the Sendero Roques de Garcia around spectacular rock formations. Most visitors quickly take a few photos from the first viewpoint, so after a few hundred metres, we're almost alone on the loop. At the start, the path is wide and well laid out and easy to walk. Mount Teide's summit at 3,715 metres, or 12,188 feet, is the highest point in Spain and the highest point above sea level in the islands of the Atlantic. If measured from the ocean floor, its height of 7,500 metres, or 24,600 feet, makes Teide the 3rd highest volcano in the world. Teide's elevation above sea level also makes Tenerife the 10th highest island in the world. Mount Teide started forming 170,000 years ago due to volcanic activity following a catastrophic landslide. It's an active stratovolcano, and the most recent eruption occurred in late 1909. Teide National Park was named a World Heritage Site by UNESCO in 2007 and is the most visited natural wonder of Spain and Europe, and by 2015 the 8th most visited in the world, with some 3 million visitors yearly. After the first kilometre, the path climbs past some giant volcanic rocks before steeply going down into a valley towards the El Catedral rock formation. What an incredible landscape! We're also very lucky with the amazing weather. Normally, the clouds are rolling in by midday. Not today, though. Once you hike past the giant El Catedral rock, the path goes steeply uphill and reveals another spectacular view into a lunar-like valley. You can do the loop in 1 hour and 15 minutes. With all the photo and video stops, we hiked just over 2 hours and are slightly exhausted when we get to the top. Although we're in high altitude here, the sun is burning down on us and we start sweating. Roque Hinchado is a 27-metre high rock pillar. The iconic rock appeared on 1,000 peseta banknotes with Teide in the background. After a quick break at the visitor centre, we get on the 2 p.m. bus and drive back along the road through the national park. We're the only passengers on the shuttle bus that runs through Teide National Park every 2 hours between the Parador and El Portillo Visitor Centre.
Wir sind die einzigen auf dem Bus. Das am Teide. Alle kommen mit den Autos. Umweltfreundlich.
We get off again at Montañas Blanca. The Sendero de Montaña Blanca is the hardest trail in the national park, an 18.7 kilometre round trip to the summit of Mount Teide, for which you need a permit. We're just doing the first 2 kilometres of this trail on a wide but unpaved road and are absolutely thrilled by this pink landscape that looks completely different than in the rest of the national park. Further down the trail, we get views of the coast and Puerto de la Cruz, and could also see the observatory station in the distance on the tops of the mountains. The Observatorio Astronomico del Teide is located in the Izaña Massif, at 2,400 metres above sea level, and, together with the Roque de los Muchachos Observatory on La Palma, forms the European Northern Observatory. We get the last bus back to Puerto de la Cruz, which is quite full. Where did all the extra people come from? It's been another great day in Tenerife, and a trip to Mount Teide National Park is a must. Because the buses don't run too often up here, it might be an idea to rent a car for the day, so you can stop at all the lookouts and spend the whole day. On the other hand, all the car parks were full, and people even parked in the ditches on the side of the road. We could literally see the stress on the drivers' faces. We, on the other hand, had a relaxing bus ride with great views through the large windows and no stress at all. On the way down, we get wonderful views of a thick blanket of clouds below us. Mount Teide is still in the beautiful sunshine. Maybe, every time we've been unable to see the volcano from the coast, the national park is actually in the sun. Who knows? Today, we take the 108 bus to Ico de los Vinos and then the 460 bus to Santiago del Teide. From there, we walk over a hill all the way down a spectacular road to Masca. Later in the afternoon, we take another bus to Buena Vista, and then the next 363 bus to Los Silos, where we get off to take a look at the small village and the coastline before heading home again. It's another beautiful day today, and so we can enjoy the bus ride from Ico de los Vinos to Santiago del Teide in the daylight. A week ago, we did the same bus ride in the dark and rain after leaving Puerto de Santiago. Santiago del Teide is a pretty little village in the Tino Mountains with the Iglesia de San Fernando Rey that was built in 1679.
So we're leaving Santiago del Teide and we're walking up that pass on the road, and then on the other side we walk all the way down to Masca. Should be about 5.5 kilometers to Masca. We reach the top and we can see La Gomera and Las Palmas in the distance. Amazing. Now we're heading down for 4 kilometers. What a super day.
Most people either take another bus from Santiago del Teide to Masca or drive this spectacular road by car. We got a recommendation from an experienced Tenerife hiker on the last bus to walk it instead. A brilliant decision, because the views of the fantastic valley are simply spectacular. Neither on the bus nor in a car can you truly appreciate this scenery. There is simply too much traffic on this narrow road with lots of sharp hairpin bends. You've got to concentrate. We, on the other hand, on foot, can relax and stop for the views at any time.
Down there, past the road, is the famous Nazca Canyon, and in the distance you can see La Gomera. It's a really clear day today. We've already passed halfway point. You can hear the brakes of a bus coming down. And they're all stuck behind that bus here. We're faster by foot. No doubt.
We would be, because I can't get past this car.
We've done all this already. How long did it take us?
So far, almost an hour.
Okay, vámonos.
Masca was originally a Guanche settlement before the Spanish conquest in 1496. The village is now home to around 90 inhabitants and lies at an altitude of 650 metres in the Tino Mountains. It's also the starting point to the famous Masca Gorge. Unfortunately, we only have very little time to explore the small town because we want to take the 3 p.m. bus to Buena Vista. The next one doesn't come until 6 p.m. and we don't want to wait that long. The bus ride to Buena Vista is also spectacular, with fantastic views again. We drive directly past the Montaña de El Palmar, a hill of volcanic origin, with cuts that were excavated by the owners of this volcano over 30 years ago. After swapping buses in Buena Vista, we get off again at Los Silos.
This is the historic centre of Los Silos. It's really beautiful.
The streets in Los Silos are steep and it's almost 2 kilometres down to the beach. There is little tourism here, so we enjoy this quiet place on the island. Down by the waterfront, we find this large bird sculpture made of stuff that has washed up on the beach. We'd seen a photo of it in one of our guidebooks or maps, but didn't know where it was. And now we found it. This is Charco Los Cochos, one of the many natural swimming pools in Tenerife. You can easily access it for a nice relaxing swim. There are lots of motorhomes parked along the promenade. It's certainly a safe and peaceful spot with small restaurants and bathroom facilities. Another attraction here is the whale skeleton lifted up on poles. It's 17 metres long and not a fake. Today we're going on a granny tour. By now we have seen almost all the highlights of Tenerife, but I still wanted to go to the eastern mountain side of Tenerife to the small towns of Granadilla de Abona and Guimar. Getting there by bus is rather difficult. It's a long drive with many bus changes and definitely one of the places where we would recommend hiring a car instead. From Santa Ursula, we had to first go to Santa Cruz, then onto a bus to Los Cristianos before getting the 416 to Granadilla. Today we're using a 24-hour day ticket again because it's cheaper than the individual bus rides. After leaving Los Cristianos, the road goes steeply up into the mountains and we enjoy the great views into the eastern valleys below.
This is the oldest street in Granadilla, the Calle Moreno Arquitecto, or Arquitecto Moreno, 200 years old. So I haven't found the oldest building, El Traspacio. I don't think the doors are 200 years old, but that doesn't matter.
It is now a Castle Rural.
There you go, the street sign.
Granadilla de Abona is a picturesque town and located at a lofty 650 metres above sea level. The Catholic Church of San Antonio de Padua stands out for its Moorish-inspired tower and its 18th century Baroque facade. After our pleasant visit to Granadilla, we get on the 35 bus that drives along the inland road which runs parallel and above the main coastal motorway to Guimar. The journey takes just over 1.5 hours and is the worst bus ride we've ever had. We get battered as the driver wangs us around corners and switchbacks and we have bruises on our arms and legs. We literally had problems sitting on our seats and the bus is obviously a school bus too. We can't get off because the next bus is over 2 hours later and will probably be driven by the same driver. Despite getting thrown around, we still arrived 20 minutes late in Guimar. we've had enough. The idea was to see some of the small villages, and we did get some great views right at the end, but we feel battered and bruised and just want to go home.
We're not even bothering with Guema anymore. We're so tired from this trip.
The grandma tour is really hard.
It's the hardest. We haven't done anything.
We're not going to make it. We just want to go home. Sit down.
Yeah, this bus was just throwing us around like crazy.
Winding us around the corners. Well, at least we managed to see something, but we've had enough.
Yeah, I think we had enough of Tenerife. Second last bus back. This is the bus station, and the 120 is already waiting there.
Already late.
Already late?
They're all late. Except for the 112, he was really punctual. That's the only time we've ever had a bus that was on time.
I've got a headache, and I feel like dizzy from the bus ride.
We take it easy on our last 3 days in Tenerife. It's time to check the guidebooks for things to do in Barcelona, which we're going to visit for a couple of nights on our way back to Hamburg. We do find the energy, though, for one more Tenerife attraction and just walk a few kilometres to La Quinta to see La Giganta, a large 4-metre high concrete figure that is covered in plants. Although it's the wrong time of year for the flowers, it's quite an impressive sight with Mount Teide in the background. Time to say goodbye to Tenerife. It's been a fantastic trip to this amazing Canary Island. We've seen so many incredibly beautiful and unique places. Tenerife is diverse and definitely worth seeing. We can't thank Maria Luisa and Hans-Uwe enough for giving us a wonderful home for the past 3 weeks. Thank you so much. It was great seeing you again. We're leaving Tenerife from the northern airport and can't believe the good weather again. What a superb final view of Mount Teide. Truly impressive and a fitting goodbye present for us. In our next video, we explore Barcelona for 2 days, one of the most popular cities in Europe, with so much to see.